Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Well, welcome to the Live Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele and June and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, that's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Live Support, with Michele who's really short. We'll have a ball, with June who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Live Support, with Michele who's really short. Now it's time to start Live Support.
The Live Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause.
Welcome to the award-winning Laugh Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Colson, here with my best friend, Michele, Rhonda Corey's friend, Trisha's sister. Don't call me Shelly, Michele VanDusen. How you doing, Michele?
I'm good. What? Oh, I just thought, you introduced me, so I should do the goat. The goat. Because that's what you are. You're the goat. You were the greatest of all times in organizing things and scheduling things and getting people where they need to be. I'm just saying.
I feel like there's a hint of sarcasm in that since I was 15 minutes late to start recording this podcast today. So
No.
You're the best, June. You really know how to keep your stuff together. No, I don't. No, I'm completely off and lost and behind. Basically, I start most of my days behind, and that's okay. That's okay.
Is it though? Is it really, June? Is it okay? Actually, I think part of why you might feel behind is we just came back from a huge, long, fun, exciting, thrilling conference or retreat. I should say retreat, right? Because that's what you guys are calling it. That's what we're calling it, is retreat. So I'm still trying to retreat.
I think that, a couple of years ago, whenever we came out of COVID and they kind of switched things up a little bit with the Christian Comedy Association, the first year they for sure weren't so much concerned about being a conference, like an educational and it feeling very formal and conferencey, to just a retreat, just to get away, just get together with your friends, get together with other Christian comedians, and pour into each other. So we've been doing that. We've been doing that for sure. So yeah, it's a lot to settle back in. It's funny you're talking about goat. So one of the people that we were with was the amazing Leslie Robb. And Leslie Robb does a joke where she says bah, right? And
wait, what?
She says something about a goat and she says bah.
That's wrong.
She just says bah, right? Yeah. And so so we did some shows together leading into the retreat, which is really fun because when your friends are getting together and they're all going to be in the same part of the country, it's fun to organize some stuff, which is what we did. Rhonda Corey organized a show called Popcorn and Punchlines that was, and it's already a Rhonda Corey moment. She organized with Pastor Eric, a show that we did last year. And then there's also a winter show that his church puts on. And so we all got together. We're all in the same area. So we're watching each other's material. Now, I know, Michele, we've talked about how you go to open mics with a notebook and you give unsolicited advice sometimes to comedians. But I usually, if we're doing an open mic, I do that, but I rarely just go, I've got a note for you. Unless it's somebody that I'm really close to and I think it'll, might add something. So Leslie, I say all that to circle back around the goat. Leslie says bah in one of her jokes. Bah. And so we got up one morning from the Airbnb and she and I went for a walk before everybody got up.
Yeah. Okay. First off, I just want to point that out. The fact that you and Leslie Robb got up every morning at some ungodly hour. I don't even think the sun was out at that point. Walking. You went walking places.
Okay.
What?
You can't group me into all of that. Okay. The person who gets credit is Leslie Robb because she did not miss a day. She walked every single day. It is a goal that she has. I happened to go with her, I think 1 or 2 of the times that she went walking and enjoyed the walk with her. But anyway, so the one happened to be the morning after we did a show. And I just put a couple notes in my phone, and one of them was for her. And it was like, she says, did you say goat like bah? And I said, you need to, like, bah is funny, but you need to do it like a goat. Draw that out. Don't just say bah and skip over it. Like, bah is the punchline. So do the whole bah, right? I'm like, you gotta do bah. And here we are walking down the street, and she goes, I don't know if I can say bah. Bah, bah. And I'm like, no, bah. We are walking through some random neighborhood in Indiana, 2 strangers to the community, going down the road in a subdivision, a very congested subdivision. Both of us going, bah, no, bah, no, bah.
You know what I love about this story is bah is a sheep. That's what's so funny about this.
Well, what do goats say?
They bleat. It's a different. Goats do this. They scream.
Well, do you not think that would have got us arrested if we were both like, no, that would have been bad.
What do goats say? I don't know. We need to get Ed on here and have him share with us what goats say.
That would be great. Yeah.
You know what I think they probably say is, I don't want to do yoga. I mean, I think that's what goats are saying.
If they could talk, they would probably be like, what? Why are y'all doing this? And the fact that they pee on people while they're doing yoga. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they don't even have to use their words.
I think I'm sweating. It's very warm.
I'm just saying.
I was impressed that you did go walking and that she walked every day. Like, I was actually very impressed at that. So kudos.
Yeah, no, that takes discipline. I was talking to her afterwards and was just like, you're my hero, because when comedians are on the road and you're out and about and stuff, a lot of times you neglect your physical health, your mental health. And so it's hard to keep up with routine when you are not having a routine, because you're on the road and you're traveling at different times and you've got different places to be. So staying physically fit, staying mentally healthy, staying on top of your daily devotions, all of those things, that's, that's really important. But so we're talking today about the Christian Comedy Association retreat. Now, we had talked about it quite a bit leading into some of our previous episodes. So Michelle's got our bag, CCA, which is right now taking registration for the 2024 retreat. And if people are interested in going to that, they can go to the to christiancomedyassociation.org. And if you click on it, it actually right now still says 2023, but you can actually click on it. Oh, did Mike change it?
There's a thing that says 2024 on there, and you can click on that link. It's
gotcha. So you can go on there and register now. And there's, there's early bird pricing. I'm not sure what it'll be by the time somebody gets on there, but it should be $125 or less. If you go on and register now. So, and that'll be for a little while leading into it.
I think with the early bird pricing, you also get a worm. So there you go.
Is that right? Right. Gummy worms for everybody. This is not true. That's false advertising, Michelle. We're not trying to false advertise.
I think that would be fun. I think we should actually put like gummy worms in these amazing bags that we get while we're at the retreat, because there is stuff in it. So like, that's really cool. Anyway.
Yeah. So what happened, if you hadn't listened to previous episodes, we all headed down to Indiana, the suburb of Indianapolis called Fishers. And several of us went down a few days early and organized some shows. We were able to do popcorn and punchlines, or punchlines and popcorn. I think it's popcorns and punchlines. And then and so that was I think everybody who was on that show is part of the Funny Together tour that Rhonda Corey has. So that's super exciting. And we'll talk about Rhonda Corey's tour a little bit more, a Rhonda Corey moment, because I'm getting ready to get to go do a show with Rhonda on that tour. And so tickets are selling. It's super exciting. I'm not sure by the time this airs if we will have already done the show. I think so. So we'll do a recap about that later.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so we went to this retreat. We did shows leading up to it, which was super fun. There's nothing more fun than doing shows with your friends. I got to have a show here in my hometown. Some people flew in early. They came into Nashville. I picked them up. My husband was a master chef and made a good barbecue meal for us one night. We
Wow.
did some like by the pool, and I got to do my very first show at Oakland Baptist Church. That's my home church, and that this was just the first opportunity that I've been given to do actual comedy. I've spoke at my church before and done a few other things, but so we did that. And then you left early, Michelle. You went and stopped by and visited your dad on the way through. We all met up at a really cool Airbnb.
I got to see my sister Trisha. Hello.
Yes,
and my brother Morgan. Yeah.
We arrived and Leslie went on the back porch and she found a very interesting view from the back porch. Michelle, what did she see?
Well, I want our listeners and our viewers to know that we are not showing any pictures during this episode, due to the sensitive content that we're talking about today. So this is a warning. Send your children in the other room if they're listening right now. It was a nude, half nude, almost nude, slightly covered man. I don't know. I didn't see because when I showed up, they're like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Nope," and I went straight to my room. Never saw him. So it could
we'll
be.
Call him Naked Neighbor. Naked Neighbor. Now he wasn't fully naked. There was a loincloth.
Loincloth.
We think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Either way, yeah, that's not the view that we expected when we went out on the back patio. Was just a dude with a kitchen towel soaking up the sunshine in Indiana.
Was he barbecuing? Is that what was happening? He was barbecuing.
I don't know. We didn't get close enough to ask questions. Leslie went out back and was like, "Wow, this place is so
cover it up."
Yes. She ran back in. Now, a good Christian girl would have been like, "Oh, no, I'm not looking." But I had to peek through the blinds. And I'm like, "I think he has a kitchen towel." So.
Is that how you took the picture? Was through the
I did. I didn't take a picture. I videoed. And I very strategically videoed where there were a couple of bushes in between us and him. And so all you can see is like his chest up and his knees down. So anything that may have accidentally been showing was not showing.
All I'm saying is I didn't go on the back porch the entire time. Okay, one time I did. But other than that, I stayed away from the back porch. I was like, I'm not even gonna risk it. I didn't know what was happening out there, but I'm like, I'm not risking it. So I stayed away.
Well, I mean, good for him, I guess. He was covered at least as much as Adam was in the Bible. So we were moving on. But okay, so we did the retreat. We stayed with our friends. So you, Rhonda Corey, Dory McLemore, Leslie Robb, and myself all had the Airbnb together. It worked out great that we had two vehicles because there was so much just back and forth. There was shopping to do. There was setup to do. There were shows to go to. Yeah. And so that worked out. That worked out really well because we were able to just kind of move on each other's schedule. When I had to be there early, you came behind with the girls who didn't have to be there, and then the flip of the coin as well. And so that was super fun. That was super fun.
And tiring. Very, very tiring. I loved that anyone that requested to or sent me an email that they were asking about how to be a volunteer, that every single person jumped in and helped, because this retreat takes, it's not just the people that are organizing it, but then all the volunteers that we had.
Yes.
They were so good. And just Bob Smiley, man, he just jumped in and just, did so much physical work. Cause I tried to make sure this is me being an old woman. I tried to make sure that I had all the men doing the heavy lifting and all the ladies doing the pretty displays. That was my thought process. And since I don't know how to do pretty displays, I let the women do that. I'm like, here, set it up so it looks good. So they did. It was amazing.
And you had some great volunteers, and Bob was just one of many. I think it kind of stood out because he came as a couple. Okay, so Bob and his wife Sarah, they were a team together. That they were there. And when we arrived, you had Christy Condor and Robert G. Lee that was setting up the t-shirt tables. I mean, people just showed up. Jeff, I always butcher his last name. Brichelli, maybe. I'll say it wrong, but either way, that guy is
I
just,
say it wrong too.
he is a go-getter.
Spurgeon,
He is, he is a go-getter. He just pays attention to everything that needs to, that maybe other
Mhm.
people might not have eyes on. He was great last year to do the same thing for us. We had,
I had Bob. Oh, so I had Bob Cates, Bob Smiley, Christy Conder, Deanna Lane, Dory McLemore, Jeff. I had Candace Heckler, Carrie Jones, Mary Ellen D. Petrillo. Oh my gosh, she was like the coffee cart queen.
she
Like
was the coffee cart
oh my
queen.
gosh, yeah. Nancy Burton was helping. Richard Bright, Robert G. Lee was helping. Sarah Smiley, Sarah Smiley, Sherry Bright, Tina Brazil, and her sister. I didn't.
Heather.
Heather, yeah.
Yeah.
And then anyone within the vicinity that I could see. So then we even had the two guys that came early. Um what their name is escaping me right now. Harold
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
oh wow, I did not write their names down. I'm so bad at this. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for
I
not
want
getting
to
the
say
names right.
Tim. Is that right?
Tim. Yes. No,
Yeah.
Jeff. Tim. It's Tim. Tom. It's Tom. It's Tom. It's Tom
Tom
Leach.
and Harold.
Tom Leach. Tom and Harold. Yeah, they
Yes.
were
Yeah.
amazing. They came early every day and they stayed late every night, and they helped clean stuff up. Oh, and Lee Harding, he jumped in and started
It's
doing all the
Hardin,
stuff.
VanDusen.
Hardin.
Stop.
Why do I keep calling Hardin? Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at names.
You do it every time you say his name.
time.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to mention everybody because you had a list of people who had signed up early
And
to help,
yeah,
to show up. And then people just started, Dawson, there's a young man named Dawson Thomas
and
who came
Zachary.
in
Yep.
with Brian Kahatsu and Mike James, who are on the planning committee from Arizona. He
So many.
bounced in early. I was able to put him on the show that I had here at the church, which is really cool because
So nice.
the youth
So good.
really just connected with him and his comedy.
Yeah.
And he was doing all kinds of stuff because he was early.
He did like all
Then
the
you had
videos or something, right? Didn't he? Like he was on top
now he does a podcast, and so he had his equipment for that, and so he videotaped Mike and Brian their sets on shows, and he did quite a bit of videotaping. So he was awesome.
He was amazing. Yeah.
McHugh.
Oh, Jim McHugh.
Jim came in. I think he was doing a show maybe in the area or something. I'm not sure, but he was there like early, and he did the Fisher's Comedy and Magic.
Yeah.
He did the show that night, and dude, he was at the table, just like, what can I do? How can I help?
Yep.
Which is really awesome. And the thing is, it's a positive thing because the more hands, the less weight each person has to carry. But then also, when people are volunteering, sometimes they're missing just the retreat part of it, of just sitting and relaxing and laying back and not feeling like they're working more than they're
Now
absorbing.
I have to say that I made sure that everyone that did volunteer, that they were in there in the sessions, listening, soaking it all in. And then I made sure that, if someone came late or if, they had check in still or something like that, I made sure that I was paying attention to that. I didn't want anybody that was coming to have to feel that burden, So, so I missed some stuff. But it's okay. I have friends that take really great notes. So
yeah, but that's the same thing too. So as you plan something like this, then the next year you go, okay, does that person want to carry that load again? Or also you got to be an example to the people who are following your lead as a leader in that area. Because if you never sit back, relax, or soak anything in, then other people are like, oh, I can't either because we're working here. You know what I mean? So it's such a balance of, I will say this year, Brian and I both agreed that like we were able to absorb more from the speakers this year than we were last year. But last year going to the CCA, my mom had just passed away. I was producing a show here in town, was straight into CCA. So I was in a just survival mode and trying to keep my emotions in check and staying clear and focused on the task at hand. Cause I knew I would have time when I got home for it all
plus
to hit me.
you had other things. Not only that was going on, and not only were you doing all the announcing and all of that, but
Mhm.
you also had other things that you were over, that just, I think it was just so much was piled on you last year.
Yeah,
And
and on all of us. Mine just was a different dynamic emotionally because of the loss I had just suffered. So that was,
yeah.
that was a little bit different. But it was also the first time that this particular planning committee had executed an event, right?
Yeah.
It was all kind of starting fresh, starting new. We didn't have, supplies from the year before or anything, like no
Mhm.
carryover. It was all just like doing this for the first time. So this year, Brian and I, well, we hosted together last year. So this year we were able to just kind of settle into it.
Yeah.
And we knew we played off of each other. We had worked with each other before. And so that was really nice because I remember looking at him saying, like, it's easier to enjoy what we're doing now. Now, next year, we will be at the same location. So it
Nice.
should be even easier, right? It
Mhm.
should be a little more laid back for us. We don't have to run and get tablecloths or, whatever. Some things we had to buy this year will already be there next year. And getting to recap and go over it will be
Yeah.
great. But let's talk about the actual event. Now, yes, so next year it is going to be June 3rd, 4th, and 5th at Onward Church in Fishers, Indiana, God willing. And ChristianComedyAssociation.org if you're interested and you want to go. A lot of people that we've interviewed on our podcast are people that we met through the CCA. Now we've
Mhm.
interviewed comedians who've never been, but
Yeah.
also our connections allowed us to reach out to some people to be able to come and be speakers at the event as well that may not have been there before or may not have been there in a really long time. So tell me about not that we have to pick a, a favorite speaker, and I know you were bouncing in and out. I was the
Mhm.
same, but was there anybody, just let's say first person that comes off the top of your head, maybe somebody that you heard speak that you were like, oh, that was a great session.
Okay, that is a great question. Because I remember, Gordon kicked everything off. He's our
Yes.
chaplain, and I I was really, really happy that he set the tone, that we were all focused and stuff, and I love that. And then towards the end, uh, I know Christy Condor spoke, and
Yes.
she was showing us how to do the the 10 commandments on our hands, and I only remember a couple of them. One was the slicing of the neck and the
Yes. Yeah.
no killing, right? That was it. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what the rest of them were. I don't know. Maybe I should look them up. I don't know. But I like that and oh, actually, she had an amazing illustration um, that she had
Mhm.
Dory come up and be part of and here's the deal. You got to be in the room. You got to be in the room for some of this stuff, because I know
Mhm.
I've gotten a lot of emails, because my email is on there for people for volunteering and stuff. So I've gotten a lot of emails, people asking like, well, are you going to record it? Are you going to, is there any way we can have access to it later? Like, no, no, you have to be there. You
Yeah.
have to be in the room absorbing what's happening, because we've gotten so used to just watching things online or doing a
Yeah.
Zoom call or that kind of stuff, and people are missing the tangible thing that happens in a room when you're lifting up God, when you're lifting up
Yeah.
Christ. It doesn't just speak to your head, there it speaks to your heart, it speaks to your spirit.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so the illustration that Christy gave was really good. I'm not even going to tell people what it was, because it was just so good. And people just need to hire her and have her come to your church and let her speak. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to put that out there. And I love Leslie Robb. She was like on fire for stuff. I love
Yes.
that our speakers shared parts of their testimony, you
Yeah.
know, and just kept bringing the combination of, as comedians, as performers, as people that have a platform, you cannot forget who gave you that platform, and
Right.
how you merge it in with your ministry kind of thing. Because I don't know if, I know a lot of our listeners know this, but a lot of people don't know this across the world. They think, oh, comedy, that's just to laugh. yes, but we can help dispense actual joy because
Oh, yeah.
we're bringing Christ. And whether you're talking about him from the stage or whether you're talking with people afterwards or you're praying ahead of time, like there's so many areas that we have access to.
Mm-hmm.
The green room, front of the audience, back of the room. Like it's anywhere we walk, anywhere we
Yeah.
talk, as long as we keep our connection with Christ first and God first, then you're bringing life to every area of it. So it was really neat that our chaplain started it, and
Yeah.
then I believe Naz was our last speaker, and it was kind of
Right.
like a commission, So like you've got, let's refocus and now get back out there, and it was just
Yeah.
nice how it all twirled. Oh, I'm wearing the shirt. Focus.
Yes. Yeah.
You
And
know.
now it's to so, the every day began with worship. And Gordon gave us just a good word and reminded us of, exactly who we serve
Mhm.
and where our hearts and our minds should be focused. Nazareth closed with basically the book into that, reiterating that, as well as giving some practical, like 7 successful habits of, a comedian, a
Christian
Christian
comedians.
comedian. So it's something of that nature. So it was some actionable things that he shared with us. But I love what you said about, and I know, this podcast, Michelle and I are both Christians. We love the Lord.
What?
That's where our
What?
focus is at. Well, some days Michelle does. I
Little
can't.
Michelle and the Messiah tell you to take it higher. Okay.
Yes, yes. And so we wanted, we wanted the clean comedy. We wanted it to be a clean comedy podcast. And we also know that not everybody believes the way that we believe. And so
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a Christian podcast, but it's 2 Christians doing it.
Yeah.
So some episodes like this one, we're gonna focus, like Michelle's t-shirt says, on that. And when you said what people don't like when it's Christian comedy, the Bible says laughter is good medicine. Good medicine. And as you were saying that, this is what I was visualizing. When someone goes and they hear a high quality Christian comedian, they leave with good medicine. They
Mhm.
have laughed, but they have not left with laughter that gave them mental, picture of, sexual innuendos. They have not
Mhm.
left with jokes that are dirty or have foul language. They have
Yeah.
not left with their mind in the gutter, but they have left uplifted. And in the Bible it talks about, the well, like drinking from a well that will never run dry, right?
Yeah.
Laughter is like whiskey and water. You
Explain.
can go, and water is nourishing, right? If
Yeah.
I drink water, it hydrates me. It's good for my
Mhm.
mind. It's good for my body. It's good for my health.
Yeah.
If I am laughing with something pure like water, fun and fresh like water, the next morning I wake up feeling refreshed, feeling I've
Mhm.
had good medicine.
Mhm.
We could do the whiskey kind of comedy. People can laugh. They're still
The
getting medicine.
burns when it's going down. What? I don't know.
Yes, yes. But they're still getting medicine. You know what I'm saying? They're still getting
Mhm.
laughter. They're still getting
Mhm.
medicine, but they're not getting good medicine.
Mhm.
If you're drinking the whiskey and that's what's making you laugh, well, you don't leave refreshed. You
Mm.
don't leave healthier. You
Yeah.
don't leave mentally clearer, and you don't leave with positive things in your heart and your
Mhm.
mind. You've laughed, you've had a good time,
Yeah.
but you leave with a hangover.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
Right?
I see where
But
you're
with
going. Yeah.
what we do, we feel called to leave people with a holy hangover. We want them
Mm.
to leave not feeling exhausted and tired, but like fresh
Like
and ready.
like a
The
vitamin B shot or a vitamin
yeah,
K
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
and I'm not saying that we always do. Some people come in and go, "Ooh, I don't like the taste of water. I want whiskey, and you're not funny," and that's
Yeah.
it. And you can't force somebody to take
Yeah.
take what you have to give them. But the
Yeah.
joy about the way we do it and who we serve is we get to have lots of moments. Like I had within minutes of the comedy show at Oakland, someone I watched someone come up to Dawson and relieve like have a little bit of joy and a little bit of healing, because this young man related to Dawson's story, and Dawson shares about
Mm,
losing his father, and
mhm.
but in a funny way,
Yeah.
and someone from my church had said, I've done nothing but cry for weeks. It was nice
Mm,
to have a night where I laughed instead of cried,
yeah.
because this person had suffered a lot of loss. And then when I came to church on Sunday, it was my first time back, and someone said to me, "Hey, I brought a friend. This friend just had a death in their family that had really wrecked them and rocked their world, and coming to the show was their first time out
Mm,
since losing this person who was so important to them."
yeah.
And so if I'd been up there doing dirty jokes and bringing, that type of medicine, I don't know that that would have helped them heal in the pain and the loss that they were going through. They just,
No.
because it ended with Leslie with an amazing, just, word
I
of
love her
hope.
so much.
Yeah, and hope and joy. But that's what this whole retreat's about. It's about people who are like-minded,
Mhm.
that are trying to have the same goals and not fall into the traps
Yeah.
of comparison and wanting what someone else has, and not celebrating other people. And when we did open mic night, there were so many standing ovations. Just people, like, if it was a new comedian who never done comedy before, people were on their feet
So
and
encouraging.
cheering them on and encouraging. And that was some of my most fun. I didn't do the open mic. I was so tired. And Brian did it the second night, and no kidding, he was so tired. He was sitting in the back of the room. He had fallen asleep. They had to call his name more than once, because like I was going to bed at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and back up at 6 a.m. every
Yeah.
day.
You went and you'd walk in the morning, and then at night you you and Leslie would be talking.
Oh, if not me and Leslie, then
Was it?
Rhonda and Dory
Oh,
jumped in my bed one night, crisscross applesauce, and they were, I mean, you would think, talk about like wine or whiskey. I'm not sure they weren't drinking something, because they were just like, "What? It's 2 a.m."
they
But
were yeah, they talked and talked and talked. Yeah, it was
Michelle
fun.
had her own, you had your own room,
I
you had your own
did.
desk, you had a door you could close and escape. But Leslie and I had a room, but it was just kind of open to everybody.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
remember one morning Leslie raised up and she goes, "Y'all know there's a couch in the living room, right?" So yeah, we all moved to the couch.
what I loved was I did not close my door. I just want you to know that I left my door open. What happened? The way that the house was and the way the door was hung, it would just naturally just close. Like it would just
Oh,
swing close. I'm like, all right, works for me. So
was
um
that natural? Mm.
it was because I
Or a
had
little Holy Spirit intervention where he was like,
there you
"No,
go.
you're gonna need your rest for the."
Yeah.
And I tell you, people are like, "I don't know how you've had the energy," and I did. I never felt like, man, I'm too tired to do this again tomorrow. At night, I would get tired, and then I would get a second wind, and I was ready to go again. And somebody
Yeah.
was like, "My gosh, where do you get the energy from?" I honestly believe it's because people prayed for me. And when they said, "What do you want me to pray?" and I asked for many people to pray for endurance, because I knew people were coming into my home on Tuesday.
Mm,
And I would be entertaining Tuesday, Wednesday,
mhm.
Thursday. Then I would
Yeah.
be driving Friday, show Friday, Saturday, another show, Sunday, prepping, preparing, driving, shopping, Monday,
Mhm.
Tuesday, Wednesday, hosting. Like I knew, like in my own physical strength, I can't do that. I'm not 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
needed that, like Holy Spirit, just keep me trucking. But I will tell you, when I got back home, I was not tired until I got back home, and then I slept the deepest sleep, and I
You just
never
got up, right?
do I
You just woke up, right? Like 2 hours ago?
I just woke up. So that was 5 days ago, and that's why I was late for starting this podcast, because I just came out
Just
of
woke
that
up.
coma.
Oh, June, do you wanna share with our listeners, how your dog felt about you being gone for so long?
Here's the thing. When you travel and you do comedy, life doesn't stop for your family. Things happen. Just like last year, mom passed away and I still went and did my thing. And usually trouble happens when you're about to go on the road. I think the enemy just throws a little wrench in there. So Reggie, when everybody was here, he started having some weird episodes and we thought he was having seizures, wasn't sure what happened. So anyway, while I was gone, my husband took him to the vet, and the vet believes he has a pinched nerve in his back. Wasn't quite sure, did some x-rays. So he gave him a steroid. So the whole time I've been gone, Reggie's been out in the garage lifting weights, getting he's on a steroid. And apparently on a steroid makes them, just like people, you're thirsty when you're on a steroid. So they drink, and it makes you pee more. So he's such a well-trained dog. I have bells on my back door that my mom crocheted, and I trained him with bells. He rings the bell and you let him out. He rings the bell, you let him out. He doesn't have accidents in the house. But my husband and I went to church, and I had got home. I had opened my suitcase. I had it on the rug in my bedroom. I had washed all my laundry at the Airbnb. Everything was clean in my suitcase, rolled up. All I was going to have to do is throw it up on the bed that day, put everything away.
And it's all clean clothes.
It's all clean clothes.
You have your suitcase opened. Okay.
Yeah, suitcase is wide open. And so I pick up the case Sunday afternoon after church, after lunch. I throw it up on the bed and I start pulling stuff out. And about the third thing I pulled out, I was like, that feels soggy. But I did laundry at the Airbnb. So I thought, well, maybe I put some clothes in that were still a little bit damp, right? And then I pulled something out of the bottom of it. And I'm like, that's like wet. And then I sniffed it. And I don't know why we do this. I knew what I smelled, but I was still like, Jason, come here and smell this. Like, why did he have to smell that? He didn't have to smell that. I knew exactly what it was.
At least you didn't ask him to taste it. Like, that's,
yeah, that's true.
Usually we get, oh, this is awful. Here, you want to try? No.
But my sweet little potato, Reginald, he, that's how he felt about me traveling. He just urinated all over my suitcase, not over it, but in it. Apparently, while we were at church, no one was there to let him out. The veterinarian said to keep him in a dog pen. Well, he panicked. He literally has panic attacks. Like, he has tore his gums trying to chew his way out of his pen. Like, he does not stay in a dog pen. So we knew he would probably injure his back more if we put him in the pen.
Yeah.
But they said to put him in the pen. So if they do have an accident, they just pee in the pen, right? No, he couldn't go out. So he decided to hike his leg and urinate in my suitcase. So
I'm just going to say it's easier to rewash clothing than it is to wash a dog. So if he was in a pen and he urinated in there, then he'd have to wash the dog too. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So so right now my suitcase, I have pressure washed it. I filled it with Dawn dishwashing liquid. And that suitcase has lasted me and my husband, probably 12 years, and it still looks good. It doesn't, that was before they did the cool rollers on the bottom where you can just hold it straight up and it rolls like 360. So I do have to drag roll my suitcase.
Yeah, see, and you need a new one anyway, because you need the 360 one. So this is a perfect reason. Reggie is just helping you. That's what it is. He's like, you know what? She's going to be traveling more, doing more, so she needs a better bag. That's what it was.
You do need a good suitcase. And my husband was like, well, I didn't buy you a birthday gift, so maybe I'll just give you whatever. But anyway, speaking of birthday gifts, so Michelle came rolling in with amazing birthday gifts.
Because it was June's birthday, because every year around the CCA retreat time, it's her birthday, because I learned that her birthday's in June.
Yes. And this year I had asked, so last year they brought me a birthday cake and they made a whole big deal out of it and they sang happy birthday and it was very sweet. And I'm like, listen,
I'm on a diet. I'm not eating cake. So
every year it's my birthday, right? Around this time. And so it's sweet that they celebrated me last year, especially with mom passing and everything. It was just a nice little thing to do. But I'm like, don't do that every year. because people are going to be like, oh, great, here we go. Guess whose birthday it is? June again. Like, who cares? So,
and I'm just gonna put your socials there on the bottom, in case anybody wants to send her a birthday greeting or a card or a Venmo. I mean, I don't know, just
oh,
send her
Venmo.
something.
Do you have my Venmo on there?
No, I don't. You're welcome.
Oh, how do they Venmo me if they do?
I have no idea. I don't know your
June
Venmo.
Dash Colson is my Venmo. That does
There you
drive
go.
me. That does drive me crazy though when people have it on the back of their cars or like they put their Venmo for their birthday on their social media page. I guess it works, but I'm so weird about getting gifts anyway. Like to
Yeah,
do that is not. But yeah, but Michelle's okay with the fact that I'm not okay with getting a bunch of gifts because you brought me a pen, you brought me a keychain, you brought me
pen?
a bag
What
in my
pen? What
color.
pen? Yes.
The little pin, the little
Oh,
flare
pin.
pin.
A pin.
Yeah, you
I
brought
was
me
thinking
a beach towel, which you brought everybody a beach towel. But you brought me
I
a beach
did.
towel, which I now just soaked up chicken broth that I got all over myself.
I wanted, because we the girls that we do a writing group with and stuff. I just thought everyone needed a beach towel, so I saw them
Yes.
and I bought them, and I'm like, we're doing it. We're gonna have something matching. So
Well, and my mom every year for my birthday would get me a beach towel. Every year, that was the gift she would get me. She would get me a beach towel from Walmart or the dollar store or whatever. And that was, and so, and we've had a
nice.
swimming pool for probably the last 15 years. And so every year I at least add one new fresh beach towel, right, to the basket in the
There
pool
you go.
house. And
I have a
I
chicken
haven't
broth.
had it's those little things when somebody dies. It's those little things that you're like, "Oh, I used to get a beach towel from her every year." So this year you covered that. You got me a beach towel, which was really cool. But
Yay.
and then Michelle got me this this t-shirt. It has I also forgot we're a podcast. So if you were listening and not watching, so it's a hot pink beach bag. It is a cool beach towel with fun rainbow style colors on it. And then she got me a t-shirt. So right now I'm wearing a t-shirt that has an image of Jesus. And then it has a quote that says, "I never said that." Dash Jesus. I never said that. This is one of Bob Smiley, comedian Bob Smiley. This is one of his merchandise. I was going to call him Bill because that's what I called him all week. Because when we arrived at the venue, I was walking in front of Leslie Robb, and Bob Smiley may or may not have tripped me, flipped me to the ground, and jumped over me so that he could hug her and act like I didn't exist. But that's okay. That's okay.
Well,
Okay, he didn't trip me. He didn't push me. He just went past me and then later came back and goes, "Sorry that I did that." But I was like, "That's fine, Bill Smiley. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
Bill
So
Smiley.
Michelle right now is holding up these books called Average Boy. Tell us about those, Michelle.
Oh, well, this is also from Bob Smiley. He's got the devotions, Super Average Kids devotions, and then the book. Because when we had him on our podcast, I don't remember what episode that was. He talked about the Average Boy and the Focus on the Family series. So when he was there, he had some product with. So I'm like, I'm gonna buy some. So I'm so happy I got them.
No, those are super cool. So he had those on his merch table.
Yes.
At the Fisher's Comedy and Magic Show. That's super cool. Well, Michelle got me this t-shirt that is Bob Smiley. We do love Bob. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Bob. And I bartered for that shirt there. I'm just going to put that out. In all reality, June, you really actually bought your own shirt because I don't know if you remember, last year you gave Bob one of your shirts.
I did. I gave him a shirt last year.
And so this was actually the exchange that he just finally brought the other one up. So I was like, "Hey, Bob, do you remember when, so he's like, "Oh, yeah. Well, what size?" So I got you, so I did
You
not
got me the extra small again because we all know how tiny I
did. But all I'm saying is I didn't actually get you that shirt. I just made sure that the transaction was finished. That's all.
Yes. Well, a big thank you to Bob Smiley.
We'll delete that part later.
Yes, yeah.
We won't.
No, so yeah, definitely check out his website, and I'm sure that the books are there, which is super cool. You can probably get this t-shirt there. This is one of my favorite just merch t-shirts ever. I really wanted, I should have bought the other one, but maybe next year I'll buy one from him because I have a running joke with my sister about squirrels. And
my
he has a t-shirt that has a squirrel on it and says chicken of the tree, which is hilarious. But
Yeah,
that is one of my
it is.
pet peeves is when people say things as if they're from the Bible that don't actually exist. And like that drives me insane. And so this t-shirt is just, and it can just have 1,000 different meanings to 1,000 different people, but it's a cool t-shirt. So Bob Smiley, and he we were talking about the open mic, how much fun that was.
Oh my gosh,
He may
yes.
or may not have been shown up by a beautiful lady who happened to be traveling. Tell us about that, Michelle.
Okay, so Sarah Smiley, his wife, who is brilliant and funny and
Yes.
amazing and all the things, checks all the boxes, for a friend. Anyway, um, this was her first time doing stand up at our open mic, and she just knocked it out of the park.
She did.
And I know that if anyone wants to follow Bob on his social medias, you probably should, because I know he's looking for some new followers. So you're welcome.
Yes, he really
You're welcome,
needs
Bob.
new followers,
He
folks.
does. He does. He needs more. He needs more. But on there, he's posted a couple different reels about the open mic, and so
Yes.
you hear Sarah's first joke, and she's like, "Yeah, when I told Bob I was going to be doing this, he's like, well, I can help you, right?" And she's like, "No, I want people to laugh." So
Yes. Yes.
it was so
She
good.
came out swinging.
She did, and it was everyone laughed, and everyone laughed hard listening to her. It was so so good, and now we do have to say, we have to preface the open mic that the comedians, if it was like their first time ever doing comedy, if it was their first time doing comedy at the CCA, or if you've returned several times, you had to do new material. It
Yeah.
wasn't bring your stuff that works everywhere. No, this was new material, and I loved how supportive everybody was and
Yes.
how helpful, and if it was just really really good. So Sarah, she came, first time doing stand up, first time, doing it there, and
Yes.
just killing it. Was like, oh yeah, we need to see
Yeah.
her more on stage.
It
It
was
was
a
just
super
so good.
positive vibe, and that and
Yeah.
and we kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit. David Pendleton hosted it. He kept things moving very quickly,
Mhm.
very smoothly, positive vibe. But
Yeah.
yes, if everyone had signed up for the first night, there was no way we were going to get everybody through. But what we wanted to do is honor those who had never had a chance to do stand up before, and give them a safe place to do that. And then
Mhm.
follow it up with people who had never had a chance to have stage time at a CCA. So then they got a chance. And then everybody else, it was like, if we can fit everybody in, that's great. But that's kind of the priority order. And it worked out well. Everybody who wanted
Yeah.
to go at least got to go once. And so it worked out really well. But I think, just the positive vibe, the joy that people had. How has this become a Bob Smiley episode? Now we got Bob Smiley thriftstore.com.
That's where you can buy his shirts and his stuff. I wanted
Why
to
were
show
you being
that.
so nice to a guy who punched me right in the mouth to get? No, he did not. He's like, June, Colson, move. Leslie Rob's here.
He just knocked you down and just kept on going. So
He did not. He did not. Bob is a
we
good
love
dude.
Bob.
He's a good dude. He's a
I
good
just
dude, and he has amazing taste in women. So that's why we can
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy them.
And there's free shipping, just FYI, on his store. Just wanted to put that out
Oh,
there too.
okay, cool, cool. More focus on Bob and
On
less on
Smiley
my
Thrift Store.
Venmo. That's fine, Michelle. No, but we did get to have that time together. I'm looking to see. Ooh, okay. We're already at 48 minutes. Um,
Woo!
we got to have time to spend with each other, with
Yeah.
friends. We listened to amazing speakers who had messages about being focused on our calling and Christ.
Yeah.
Talked about
And
our families, and I think it just, as I said at the beginning, mistakes will be made. I made several, and who knows if I'll be hosting again next year or not. It's
okay, I
fine.
have to say, you and Brian, when you hosted this year, um, I loved that you guys were able to give another insight to what was spoken, and I love that you take a few minutes after the person was done talking and you ask them questions,
Yeah.
and to present a whole nother side of them versus this is the presenter. And now here, it was really neat how everything was a whole person kind of a situation. I just,
Yeah.
and you picked up on some things when they spoke. You picked up on some things and you highlighted it. And so it was so good. And people just sign up and come next year if you're a Christian, if you're in comedy and you're like, where are my people? We're your people. So
Yeah.
come on out, christiancomedyassociation.org, get the early bird pricing. It
Mhm.
was so good. And the fact that everything, you walk away knowing that there's a healthy merge and a healthy balance in your relationship with Christ and your career.
Yeah.
So I just, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going, June. I interrupted you.
No, I think that's great. And the thing is, I think the understanding is that it is more of a retreat setup and less of a conference type vibe. Will you learn stuff about the comedy industry? Yeah. I mean, that was
Yeah.
dabbled in here and there, but it's, the one thing that we talked about is actually there's only a couple places that you can go to and have the experience of just worshiping together with Christian comedians. And
Yeah.
there's a million books out there. There's lots of places that you can take comedy lessons on how to write and those kind of things. But the Christian Comedy Association retreat, and then the LOL GCA, which and I'll talk about that really quick. Oh, look how quick you popped that up there. LOL GCA conference, which is coming up in October. I will be there. Leslie Robb will be there. Shanita, who we've interviewed on, as far as I know, she's going to be back again this year. There's a lot of people from the CCA that are going over to LOL GCA. It says Triangle, Virginia, but it's I don't think they're 100% sure if it'll be there or if they might be moving it to Virginia Beach. So, and I get to go pick up Miss Roxanne David, aka Miss Reese, who is the president of the LOLGCA. I picked her up at like 4:00 in the morning at the train station in Indianapolis. I've never picked up somebody from the train station. That was just a fun before the sun rose. Riding through the empty streets of Indianapolis with who I think is just a beautiful saint of a woman.
Yes.
And she came and was able to talk about, and that's the thing, is we're not in competition with other comedy associations. Man, we want everybody to know about each one of these events and support them and be poured into by people. That's in a whole different kind of, part of the United States over at Virginia Beach and Triangle, Virginia versus Indiana or Nashville. So definitely check that out. It's not too late to register for the LOLGCA conference coming up in October in Virginia. So that would be really cool. But so many amazing, we could talk about this for 10 hours for sure, because we spent time with friends. We listened to great speakers. We got to do shows. We got to, and I will say this, probably one of the most fun birthday evenings I have had. Once the comedians finally settled on where they wanted some food, it only took Michelle and Deanna Lane 2.5 hours to pick up Chinese food. Chinese food and Mexican food carry out is typically the fastest carry out food you can get.
It was so slow. And there was a lady that goes there all the time. She was a local, right? And she's sitting there. And she sat in the most uncomfortable seat in the area because I went and sat next to her because I was talking to her for a while. Because it was so slow. And she said, typically it's never this slow. She goes, and there's usually 3 back there. It's usually the husband and the wife and the son. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he went off to school or went for a summer break. I don't know. All I know is it was a long time. She goes, I sit here so they can see me and remember that I'm still waiting.
Oh, yes.
Like,
yes.
Oh, good idea. So then I sat next to her. I'm like, wow, this is a really uncomfortable chair. Or it's like one of those bench things, but all you there was padding, but all you felt was the wood. But it was just a rail of wood hitting the thigh. It was like, oh, how do you sit here? She's like, because the food is good. And it was really
and more
good
gifts came from you too. You came back with a protein smoothie for me. You guys bought me some Chinese takeout and that afternoon. So we finished the retreat. We had pizza with our friends.
Yeah.
We went to Goodwill, which is one of my favorite places. I didn't force y'all to go on down the street to the Dollar Tree, but we went to Goodwill and I bought a squirrel and made a few videos. And then that night, well, Dory got me a Purple Rain t-shirt. Prince and my birthday was the same day. She got me a Purple Rain t-shirt. I got a unicorn float from Christy and Leslie Robb. Rhonda Corey, of course, bought me something from Macy's, a little jewelry, a little bling bling. And my friends were just amazing. But y'all, I got to have
And
a
I bring you a
grown-up girl
protein shake.
dance party.
Here's the
Do
protein. And I bring you a protein shake. Stay healthy.
And Michelle got me the protein shake, and then we danced and we sung. We sung to songs. We pulled up songs on YouTube, and we had a goofy girl dance party. And man, I couldn't have asked for a better birthday. Like just dancing and singing some of my favorite songs and acting like a fool, like a 12-year-old girl to sleep over. It was absolutely the best. So next year, it's not my birthday for CCA. I will be home by my birthday, and I will have a birthday with my family, so they can't use it as an excuse not to buy me gifts, because that's what they did this year. I'm glad y'all got me stuff.
You're getting nothing next year, so
Nothing.
yeah, next year your birthday's on a Friday. Just gonna say.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so we need to wrap this up because we only talk this long because Rhonda Corey likes listening to long podcasts while she's working. Yeah, so it was another Rhonda Corey moment. I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And if you are listening and you want to watch us, what do you got to do there, June?
Well, then just bounce over to YouTube, the Laugh Support Podcast on YouTube. You can watch the video you can see my cool t-shirt and Michelle's cool t-shirt and the gifts that she gave me. And then if you are watching us and you want to listen, man, we're on pretty much every major podcast platform. Inside Michelle's bag, there's the great heckle. We had Chris Wineland came and spoke. That was really cool, y'all. And just a side note about him, like he found a way to minister to other comics in the comedy club. So you can share joy and laughter and good comedy medicine pretty much anywhere that you go. And a mint, a lifesaver. Michelle's going to end by showing us candy. That's classic VanDusen. Okay, y'all. As I always tell you, Jesus and Junebug loves you. And Michelle, close us out with a mom joke.
I just want to say, one bird can't make a pun, but two can. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.